a little sisterly bond.
As a fellow gooner.
What the fuck did I get myself into?
Welcome back to Baby Daddies, the podcast where we stand in front of mirrors and divulge our deepest, darkest secrets. We're here to talk about For the Love of DILFs Season 3, Episode 7. Imario, how you doing this week?
Bitch, I am so fucking tired. I started a new job this week, finished my first full week. They got me running all up and down this hospital, visiting all these rooms, talking to all these people. But you know what? I'm not mad because I'm no longer fun employed. I got money coming in now.
You know, she got money,
I'm
huh?
so happy to got money.
Ripping and running.
How are you doing?
I've been good. It's been business as usual over here. I've been watching Castlevania Nocturne and having a great time with that. It's been bitterly cold. And I had one update this week, but I can't remember it. So it really must have not been that important, honestly. It must not have been that important. But yeah, we start this episode off with Patrick and Adonis, who I am very quickly becoming fans of. I do want to apologize. I really came on a little hard with Patrick his first episode. I think the first impression of like the eat, pray, love of it all, he just came off a certain way and I just was not vibing with it. But the more scenes we get from Patrick, I'm like, he's actually kind of cool. And him and Adonis are really cute together. And so I'm like very quickly becoming fans of them. So yeah, I came a little hot and heavy that first episode, and I do apologize.
Well, I need to apologize too, because when Patrick came on, I'm paraphrasing myself, but I was like, it looks just like generic. Like I feel like I've seen this man before. But the more I see him and the more he talks, like he's very handsome. Like he has like a really genuine smile, and I need to apologize.
Yeah.
I'm always going to admit I was wrong. Except in Marvel Rivals. It's never me.
Yeah, no,
but
it's never me. It's always the DPS.
Story.
It's always the DPS's fault. Yes, Patrick, we apologize. So the boys are feeling good after last night. They kept it cute because everybody was sleeping around them, but Adonis is feeling very grateful that they got to spend the night together. They think they're in a good spot couple-wise. And then Adonis is like, hey, we got to talk. And he opens up to him about his status and talks about being HIV positive, undetectable. And this is a really big step for them. This is a big step because Adonis is like, I don't really tell anybody, but obviously if I see something going forward with you, I'm going to have to let you know. How do you feel about this situation?
I feel as Dr. Dill feels. Undetectable means untransmittable.
Untransmittable. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, you can tell me you're positive. You know what? That's fine. Of course, I always go into the pharmacy part, healthcare first. Like, okay, you're positive. Are you taking your meds? Because a lot of girls do not be taking their meds. I've seen the spirals. And I'm like, okay, you know what? You're good. I'm taking my stuff. We can still hit. We can go right now if you want.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you being undetectable and transmittable, that is not a barrier for me.
Yeah.
Not at all.
This is also a good time to bring up, this is not related to reality TV in any way. However, this administration looks like it is going to be trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act's coverage of PrEP. So this is a good time to like start being more community based and look for community options to cover your PrEP or to cover your HIV medication. I think with this, the next 4 years, we're going to have to come together as a community a lot because we got to be there for each other and not just the queer community. We got to be there for our immigrant community. We got to be there for the Black community. We got to be there for all marginalized people. It can't just be queer people showing up for queer people. We have to show up for everybody.
Everybody.
And I think it's important to say.
Our trans sisters are under
trans
attack.
sisters specifically. But yeah, also HIV medication and PrEP are most likely going to also be under attack. So this, make sure you can find resources where you can. There's tons of community stuff. I know here in Chicago, we have the Howard Brown Center. We've got, I don't know if Gilead still does like the PrEP coupons where you can like get it for free.
They do. I'm on it.
See, that's what I was like. I'm pretty sure they still do it. So yeah, there are options to still cover you. Just make sure you got your shit together because girl, we buckling up.
Honestly, as I tell people frequently, me being in the pharmacy world, if it's your medications, ask your pharmacist. They literally went to like 8 years of school about your medications. You have questions, ask your pharmacist. Go to
Yeah.
your local pharmacy.
When they say, "Do you have any questions?" Like they mean that shit.
They
Ask
really do
the
mean that.
questions.
Like it's like law here in Illinois. Like if you have to get counseled for your medications, you got questions, ask them because we want to make sure you're safe. Absolutely. I don't let anyone leave without them feeling comfortable about any of their medications.
Yeah. Oh my god, we're going from like one heavy topic to another heavy topic. Oh god,
I
here we
know.
go. We move on to the mirror. I don't even want to call it a challenge because I feel like it's not a
It's a
challenge.
retrospective.
Yeah, it's a retro. It's
Um,
something. Story comes out in this really pretty white short dress. I think she looks fantastic. This like summer
Adonis
dress.
did ask if she was ready for a wedding, and she kind of chuckled and said no.
No,
So are her and her man still together from season
I think she
two?
met. Yeah, they're still together. I think she was probably talking about she not ready for a wedding for none of these other hoes.
Oh,
Like
okay.
the
I was
daddies
just
and
like, wait.
himbos. No, I think that's what she meant. Like, no, none of y'all are getting married. Everyone's feeling a little sleepy after last night's festivities. You know,
They got like a shot of almost everybody yawning. Like that was production is evil. How dare you?
Yeah. This runs you back to episode 1. Justin saying, "I am severely undercaffeinated." So the challenge, quote unquote, is the drag race kind of like what would you say to 6-year-old you moment of the season, right? This is their like submission for like
The Emmy?
This is their daytime Emmy consideration. Yeah. I don't even really want to go through this point by point because it really feels kind of reductive to reduce everybody's emotional journeys and people's trauma and things like that to being like, next up we've got blank talking about like it just feels reductive to like go through and do that. I think everyone should go watch this scene because it's really nice and everyone gets very vulnerable and emotional. Jay and Adonis definitely take a lighter approach to it. They walk up and they say, "How you doing, handsome?" And I think that's really cute. And I think that's probably what I would have done as well, just given how I usually start things with humor. I'm sure I would have gotten vulnerable, but I do, get to start with a little funny.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't want to reduce it to just like a little joke. So definitely go back and watch it.
Yeah, go back and watch it. I mean, just really quickly, Tony talks about working hard and being there for himself. Patrick talks about kind of similar things about how he, in the past 2 years, he's grown so much. Robert divulges some personal stuff about middle school. Timmy's the one that breaks me, man. That's the one. Like sometimes
Timmy
you gotta
was
let
really
you gotta
sad,
let that
like-
cry out. And Nick talks about strength through divorce, and Sam talks about losing his mother. Like it really is like a good. It's a good segment. You should go back and watch it. But yeah, I just don't want to sit there and kind of go through everyone's stuff and just be like, point by point. I will say Victor talking about how he's got to love himself because if he doesn't, who will? That also really struck me. Like that is important. Like, listen, RuPaul doesn't just say if you can't love yourself, how you gonna love somebody else for no reason. You know what I mean? Like
it's real shit.
It's one of those things that's like so easy to like forget. And every so often you need to hear someone say it and you're like, you're right. You're right. I do gotta do I do have to love myself.
Like we be laughing every episode about RuPaul and the fracking. If you can't love yourself, can I get an amen? But like, listen, Ru been on this earth a very, very, very long time, and she's giving you knowledge. Like you got to love yourself first.
Yeah, and so Victor says something very similar, but like packaged in a different way. But it has the same effect. It like really is one of those things that are like, oh yeah, like he's got a good point there, But yeah, I don't want to. We can move on from there. Everyone should go back and watch it. It's a good sequence. After this, Danny and Timmy are getting into it, having a little sisterly bond.
Their first moment together since Danny got eliminated.
Yeah, for the first time, and they came back
for the first. The first thing I wrote was Dr. DILF is going crazy with these jokes about the jackets matching the whole color, the gooning, a 6-hour gooning session, I believe. Dr. DILF was off the rails here.
Yeah. He's been edging all season. The jokes are getting a little more deranged. They're getting a little more deranged.
She need to release, okay? Stop. Just let it out. But also don't stop because the gooning joke, it really hit home for me.
Yeah.
As a fellow gooner.
Timmy pretty much confirms here that like he brought Danny back to undo the decision that he did the first time, and he feels like David led that decision. So that makes a lot of sense for him to be like, yeah, I felt like I made the wrong decision, so I brought you back. You know, like it just
Mm-hmm.
it confirmed what I had already thought during last week's recap. Uh, and Danny's like,
I
listen, I told Timmy to make some strong moves and be big and let these people know, but
I didn't think the big move was gonna be on me. Like,
yeah, exactly.
and I do love calling a girl out for giving themselves their own redemption arc, like being a villain, and then the next episode, like doing the apologizing thing. I was wrong because us housewife girls, we eat that up at the reunion.
Oh
If someone says
yes.
they're sorry, I will eating out of the hand. But I
Hmm.
genuinely think Timmy is just a good person. Like I think Timmy literally was just like, I feel really bad about this. You did not deserve it, Mama. Hey, kitty girl, come back.
Yeah, and then they bring in those damn bed bugs. We will never escape these fucking bed bugs.
You literally cannot escape bed bugs. You have to burn down your
You
entire
have to burn
house.
down everything. Someone said that, oh my God, well, I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were talking about how someone they knew had bed bugs and then also had some like
Don't say
really,
roaches.
no, I think it was like cancer. And they
Oh my
said
god.
the bed bugs were worse than the cancer. Could you imagine?
Do you remember what kind of cancer it was? Because I know some of them,
No,
like bone cancer,
it
is
was
supposed to
no,
be
not. But bone cancer
extremely
is
painful.
bone cancer is worse than, you know, 'cause that's like the most incurable. All cancer sucks. Point is, this person,
And,
speaking from their own experience, was like, listen, the bed bugs were worse. It destroyed literally everything I owned. Um, so
ooh,
bed bugs, truly terrifying thing to behold and think of. I
and
forgot.
see, this is why I had to get off the bed bug subreddit because they was talking about Edgewater had a bed bug
Oh,
infestation. I
you
was
didn't
telling
know
my man
this?
like, we're not moving up
Oh
there.
yeah,
Like,
Edgewater has a bed bug thing. Oh yeah, when I was looking for apartments, I remember being like, not doing Edgewater specifically for the bed bugs of it all.
oof,
Girl,
nightmares.
nightmarish. How do bed bugs even survive Chicago winters?
I think they do better in cold than they do heat. That heat, they just like fall apart. I think I remember, not like disintegrate, but like
That's
I think
crazy.
cold, they can like just live in cold.
Oh, I hate that.
It's so, anyways, I'm getting chills right now.
I know we have to move
So
on. This is
we go on to
disgusting.
this Shakespearean love challenge.
Shakespeare in Love. Yep, Shakespeare in Love. Stormy for real comes out just like Galadriel. She's giving Kate Blanchett Lord of the Rings down, baby. The
She said
CGI sparkles around her are sending me. They
the budget for the CGI budget, like with this real dolphin, the sparkles,
girl, the sparkles are killing
the
me.
drone later on in the episode.
Yes, the drone was good. The drone was good. They ate with the drone, but the sparkles they did not. The sparkles there were crumbs all over the plate.
Oh,
The sparkles were like it was like 3 frames of a sparkle, and it just kept repeating the 3 frame. Like it was, it's like in Dragula where they had the challenge where they had to go in the ice box, and they kept on
Mhm.
replaying the same overlay of the freezing on the camera. And I was like, girl, this is the same overlay. We've literally like it's not nothing new, and they kept on playing it like it was something different.
Wait, like it was
Uh,
like the statue thing last episode where
you
they were
know,
just like
yeah,
this.
I'm gonna give you my login for Shutter. You're gonna have to watch the latest season because when you get to that episode, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. You're like, this is the cheapest looking fucking freeze effect I've ever seen in my life. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. Anyway, the eliminated divas come out: Justin, Foxy, Steph, and David. The girls are looking vengeful, except for Justin comes out and it's just like
Justin's just so bubbly, so fresh. Like,
Timmy says, and this stood out to me. At the end of the day, we have a villain that we don't really like. So he said we all have a villain that we don't really like. He's talking about David, and I'm like, so there's David, but is David? I feel like this season doesn't have like one antagonist. I feel like it's deuter antagonist, and I know that's not a word because of
Duder.
deuter, because it's always like opposing forces. Like there's David and Victor, and
Mhm.
they're at each other, or it's David and Nick, and they're at each other. So, but they're like it's kind of like qualities, kind of taking a boat. You know what I mean? I don't know. To me, I'm
Mhm.
like, there's a little bit of antagonistic qualities for more than just David. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I think this just further signifies that himbos are the beam of light and goodness that surround the earth.
Yeah, because the hippos are doing nothing. Well,
They're just chilling.
Danny
like,
stirs the pot a little bit, which I enjoy. But and Steph had to come as a woman, and they're the himbos have had their fair share of stuff, but the himbos aren't talking about the bed bugs. Well, they are talking. They're mentioning them now as a joke, but that's like the afterthought. You know what I mean? So it's like less serious. They're not saying go to the truck stop bathroom. He ate that line up though. That line. Can we talk about that again for a second?
He kind of did. As I said before, like, girl, you pissed me off, but you know what? You get a clap for me. That was good.
You get the Dumbledore golf clap because I said this. I was like, if he had done everything the exact same way, but didn't put it on like the fake STD of it all and the kind of like that narrative, 10s for me. Perfect 10. You know what I mean? Like that would be reality TV villain like masterclass. It's when we go into that like real world kind of, now you're just pissing me off as like a queer person. That's where we start dropping for me. Yeah.
Victor is the Phaedra traders of the DILF Mansion. That's what it is.
Well, I know Phaedra, but I do not know anything about her aside from her name and that she's a housewife. So I'm sure I will learn that when I watch season 2 of The Traders. Let's talk about this Romeo and Juliet challenge. First up, Adonis and Patrick. Adonis is serving it on a platter. I'm living for the comedy and the drama. Fantastic. Oh, Patrick, my beautiful baby, my daddy. It is so funny when he talks about and our feet cuddling.
Our feet cuddling. I was like, there's a very special group of girls out there who are going to love this part of this episode.
Oh yeah, but I also like it because it's one of those things that like it's kind of niche. Like no one would think to say that, so it comes off very earnest. Like like it's something that stuck out to you that the two of you guys do together. It comes off just very true. Like you just start rooting for them like that. And then on the opposite side with how like Patrick, like Adonis comes off doing like the full Shakespearean, tragedy of it all. And then Patrick goes up and has this like really, honest approach with it. It's like a very good foil to how they each did it. I think like they definitely won this challenge for me.
Absolutely.
They didn't announce a winner for this challenge because it was just someone's going home. If we had to announce a winner for this challenge, they're taking the win.
It would have been them. Danny comes out and Danny's just like, from day one, it was love. I wrote here, from day one, it was love. Them bitches are scared. And then camera cuts to David.
Just the like, camera? Shady cameraman. Shady cameraman keeps cutting to David, even when David like doesn't even have a reaction. David could fully just be like checking out his nails or just like breathing. Cameraman's like,
just breathing.
Did you make a shady edit? It's killing me. They are really trying to get his reactions for shit.
I'm wondering are the camera people looking at David and be like, hey, we're gonna go to you in like 5 seconds, like do a thing. No, or is the camera just going?
I don't think.
Okay, there's nothing insidious going on.
No, I'm pretty sure the cameras are just rolling, trying to capture everything. They have like 8 cameras. They probably had a camera just on his face the whole time, and just editor kept cutting back to it. Danny talks about poems and community and the uphill battle of their relationship, and it all sounds from the heart. And David's like, I can't believe a single thing that they're all saying, right? Danny's
especially when Victor comes out,
is wavering a bit, and you could tell they're getting a little choked up speaking about it. To me, it comes off honest. I believe it. You know what I mean? And I also believe the same with Victor. Everything that Victor says, none of it comes off as a lie. Victor talks about growing up and seeing love and seeing how to emulate love and that love is kind and patient. None of these things are lies.
Well, as David and Steph emoted together, they just looked at each other.
Emo, bitch. I get it. I get that David doesn't like Victor, right? And Victor's, mind you, Victor has pissed us off in the past, but I don't think anything that Victor says in this challenge is a lie. And I do think it all comes off true. Now, does it come off as Danny and Victor having like a really strong relationship? That in when you compare them to everyone else in the challenge, I don't think theirs was as strong. However, I don't think that everything they said was a lie. I think everything they said was true, and I do think that they believe these things. I just
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I feel like they spoke more about love in general and less about love
Loving
as
each
it
other.
pertains to each other. I think that's for me how it is. Whereas Adonis and Patrick talked specifically about each other, and Timmy and Nick talked about each other. For me, Danny and Victor talked more about the essence of love, which is
Mm-hmm.
great. It's great, right? It just doesn't stand up to kind of like the more interpersonal forms of romance that we see.
I do agree. Before we move on, can we also just I want before season 4, I want the girls to take a theater class because I know it's 2024, we have microphones, you can speak into the microphone. But coming from a musical background, I want the girls to project. I want you
Project,
to
baby.
just like give it to me.
And that's why Adonis was giving it.
Mm-hmm.
Adonis was giving it. My baby. It was giving Alexis Mateo in the Troops Come Home commercial where she's like, bam, bam, and I got a chorizo. Come home, baby. I miss you. That's what this was like. That level of drama, like that's what Adonis was giving me. Bam.
Just the hair whipping around like it's
Yes.
picture
Bam.
perfect.
That's what Adonis was giving me. My baby, come home. It was great.
Like,
Moving on to Timmy and Nick. Even though the gods are crazy, even though the
it's
stars
just
are
very like
blind, if you show me real love, baby, I'll show you mine. Paris Hilton ate that song up. I don't care what you think about her. That's a bop right
it's
there.
great. I was obsessed with that song in high school.
That's
Every
a
time it came
bop.
on the radio, max volume. It was so
Bop.
good. And I don't understand why no one was living for it. Because I
Yeah.
was.
Cause yeah, I'm still sliving for it. And now she's making music again.
She is. I know she's been like DJing and stuff,
She's
but
been
she's like
DJing and
releasing
stuff, but
tracks.
yeah, I think she's been releasing a couple things here and there, I believe.
Ooh.
Uh,
Tell
and
my man to put it
and
in a
if I'm
set.
wrong, the girls will prove me wrong, but I'm pretty sure she's putting stuff out again. um, Timmy says that Nick is someone who's helped him lower his walls and feel protected and feel protection, and that he's excited to meet his kids, and it was all really sweet. Listen, Nick has maybe had the hardest job this season
Mm-hmm.
because Timmy has had to eliminate quite literally half the cast at this point. Timmy has eliminated, by the end of this episode, Timmy will have eliminated more people in this season than I believe anyone has ever eliminated anybody in DILF Mansion.
Yeah.
It's like
They put this little
lip sync
twink through
assassin
it.
of
Through the mattress.
Yes, they are putting Timmy through it, and Nick has the hardest job of like comforting Timmy through all that because that's difficult. I cannot have sending home one person is hard. Sending home two people's hard. Sending home 4 people, bitch, kill me.
Like,
Kill me.
and it's not even just like, haha, like, silly, fun thing. It's literally basically going up to someone and being like, I don't care if you found love or not, you're not winning the money, you're getting out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Robert and Sam, this is the big one. This is the big one. What did you think about this one?
Ooh. Sam came out and just told, like, I was told when I came out I would never find love. I think I found it here in DILF Mansion. I really care about you. I enjoy our time together. It was just I'm sorry, I'm just eating up Sam. Like everything that he says, it feels so genuine. I think it's the eyes.
It's
the
the eyes.
smile.
It is his tone of speaking. He's very pragmatic about how he goes about things.
Yes.
I think I really appreciate that because I relate to that a lot too. He knows that he's on a dating show and he knows that everyone is there to find love, but he knows that he himself is someone who takes a bit to get there given past experiences and things like that. And he knows that it's going to take him a while. And that's why I think when Robert says, I love you, him not saying it back to me is really powerful, and I respect that because you could tell that he's touched by it, and they say this like David kind of summed up all my feelings about this when they're in the deliberations, but we'll get there. But yeah, the like he talks about embracing the difficult conversations and about vulnerability and things like that. And he's like, everyone else is doing a very idealized version of love, and Sam is like, listen,
This
relationships
is
are
real
work.
love.
Relationships are work, and I'm not afraid of putting that work in. And I think that is like, I think that's really powerful.
That's the love I'm looking for right there.
Mm-hmm. And Robert, you know, I feel like I missed a joke here. He says, I think you and I need to get a little deeper. And then he takes his shirt off. Is there a joke there? Am I missing something?
I mean, I was kind of doing it like from the movie thing, like, when a character has gloves on, they're not showing like their true intentions. So that's what I thought. Like, he having his shirt on and everything. I think we need to get deeper. So we're taking off this outer layer of this onion and like,
Is that
that's
what
how
it
I took
was?
it.
Okay. That didn't read to me, but maybe that I was like, surely I'm missing something here. Maybe if he was like, I'm going to bare my chest for you. You know what I mean? I'm going to wear my heart on my, like really just, I think maybe it would have been a little more impactful for me. I was like, I'm missing something here. But he says, I love you. My God. My God. My goodness.
He didn't think you'd find anyone as beautiful and as special as Sam. Found it here in the mansion. And there's like a little pause and then love you. And then Stormy is just pearls, clutched, titties up, like
clutched, baby. Oh my God. Moving on to Jay and Tony. Jay has a cold or something, I think, this episode. His voice
Who brought you in here?
His voice is a little raspy. It's a little hoarse, but it sounds really, really cute. I like a raspy voice.
You do love a raspy voice.
I love a raspy voice. It's something about like it's a little raspy today. And when he's doing this, I'm like, he sounds so adorable. He thanks Tony for seeing things in him that other people write off, given his line of work. And then Tony talks about breaking through all his rules. And Tony has a really cute bomber jacket on this episode that I really like. I love that pattern on it.
Tony's fashion is always 10 out of 10.
That man has got the outfits. He has got the outfits. Everything he wears, I'm like,
the marmalade of DILF Mansion.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You could find a hot daddy. You could find a hot himbo. But you can't always find that special chemistry. Listen.
If there ain't been realer words
exactly. Spoken. Yeah. This tea right here. That's literally just all they have written under it.
The tea. Because a lot of the girls come out and they be hot, but there's nothing behind the eyes. It's just hollow in there.
Clock it. Clock it.
That tea.
In the deliberations, Justin is kind of leading the group here, which I love because, he was only there for the first 2 episodes. So I like him having this moment of being like, let's go down the line. Let's talk about who's there and stuff like that. David is shading Danny and Victor because he can't believe anything he hears from them. And then he says the same thing about Nick. I have right here, anytime David sees someone he don't like, I just can't believe a single thing I hear from them.
It's literally just, I don't trust that bitch. I don't trust everything she's saying.
I cannot trust a single thing out her mouth. It is killing me. Him and Steph say that Danny and Victor aren't compatible if you compare the speeches. And I this is where I have written, I think they probably had the least amount of romantic parts in it. And they talked more about love as a concept and less about loving each other. But I do not agree with David here where he says he just can't believe anything. Because to me, everything that they said comes off earnest. It just doesn't come off as like in love with each other. You know what I mean?
And I think that's just like a after effect of the drama. Because, when someone pisses you off, it's like they say in like all the TV shows, like, look at her eating them fucking crackers. That dumb bitch. Like,
oh, yeah. When you see someone you
and
don't
I've been
like
there
eating fries, you're like,
times.
that bitch with her fries, Justin is kind of prodding David to talk more about the Nicholas situation as like a backstabber and a shit stirrer. And this is where I'm like, I'm really wondering what else has been said because the only thing their production keeps cutting back to is Nick going for Timmy. And this is where I'm like,
it's got to be more than 17 words.
There's got to be more. Truly.
When are we getting the uncut episodes?
Yeah, because I'm like, we're missing something off these cameras. This feels like it feels almost like a dropped storyline that like is now getting its day in the sun, and I'm like, I feel like we don't have the build, like the emotional build up for this to have it as a payoff.
Hmm.
It just feels like a dropped storyline coming out of nowhere, like poof.
I wonder if it was just cut for time or cut because it was just that bad that they just didn't want to show it, but they
Yeah, I
had to
don't
give
know.
they had to put something. I don't know.
Who knows? Point. I guess it all come out with the wash.
What I
Um.
do know is that Justin needs to be on production for season 4
Oh
because the way she is
yes.
handling this like line of stuff, masterclass.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They talk a bit about the whole not saying I love you back, and Justin and David really sum up all of my thoughts here. So just
Mhm.
we talked about it already. Uh, let's talk about Foxy a bit.
Because Foxy didn't get a lot of reaction time except when Jay and Tony were up there. Because Foxy
Mm-hmm.
was with Jay
Yeah.
first,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Him and Jay
and
had a moment.
mhm,
Boys,
Foxy
the boy's
said,
mine.
"The boy is yours." Foxy did say that Jay was given good stuff, but because of what they had together, Foxy is just he's not receiving it right now, and I get that. Like you
But
see
you
someone used to
see,
date,
there's
and
a difference between I just can't receive what he's saying and I
I
think
don't
everything,
believe.
I can't trust a single thing coming out their mouth. Those are two
Hmm.
very different things. You know what I mean? And I think that might be more in line with what David, like I feel like instead of being like, I just can't believe a single thing out of their mouths, I think maybe I just can't receive what they're saying because I don't like them bitches. You know what I mean? I think that might be a more apt summing up of his feelings, because I really do think both Danny and Victor spoke earnestly. I
I
just don't
also
think they
wrote
spoke
here.
about romance with each other. And I think those two
Mhm.
things can exist at the same time. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean because Victor wasn't. I know we already talked about it. Like Victor wasn't saying anything crazy. Like I learned love from watching others love people. I learned how to treat a partner. Like that's still real.
Oh
As much as you
yeah.
piss me off, it's still real,
And
still
I think
valid.
everyone can relate to that. Like we learn our how we see love is in built off of the relationships or the relationships we don't see growing up, whether that's on TV, whether that's your parents, whether that's people in your life, aunties and uncles, people you see around town.
Mhm.
All of that informs how we love people, how we see love, how we go about love. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, like, you think about Tony Cannoli season one. His form of love was built around the Disney princess. You know what I mean? Like that's Prince Charming right there.
Mhm. And we still love you, Tony.
We'll get to him in season one.
Don't go nowhere. You up
Yeah,
next.
don't know. We got you off the schedule. We got you in like a month. Oh God. um.
So these pairs,
Mhm.
yeah, pairs, 4 people. So these pairs, they have to choose someone to go home, and it has to be unanimous.
Unanimous, which is tough. So I really want to know how much back and forth there was because it sounds like I don't, and it doesn't even sound like Fox wants to send home Jay and Tony because he's
Mhm.
like, I think Tony's a great guy and I can tell that they really like each other. So I don't even think he's really like wanting to send them home that much. So I'm
No.
wondering what like kind of the deciding factors are here. Point is, they
Well,
decide,
no.
and in the deliberations, they sent home Timmy and Nick. This was a complete blindside for me.
Complete. Even Victor and Danny were
Complete,
standing there like, did y'all say the wrong name?
right? Which this is like, okay, to me, this is me putting
Mhm.
my tinfoil hat on.
Oh,
This is
okay.
me going like, okay, whatever we don't know about this David Nick situation is really, that must have been what pushed them over into being like, yeah, let's send them home. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
otherwise, how else do you get a unanimous decision?
Like, it must have been really bad because I know, okay, Victor
Or
talked about me.
it's either that or Foxy and Justin were like, we don't care, girl. You know what I mean? That could be, now that I think about it, that could be just equally as true. That they could have been like, we've already been eliminated. We really don't give a shit. If y'all feel this strongly
Yeah.
about it, send them home. You know what I mean? Like that
Mhm.
very much could have been the vibe.
I
Um,
mean, I am definitely the one to come to you and be like, okay, what if it's like this? Like, okay, yeah, Victor said all this about me that I'm a bug spreader, bug chaser, and all this stuff. Like, what if it's like that? And then you're just like, no, it's just Nick. Like, it's
especially
maybe it's not
after
as. It's not as
recording my
complicated as what we
episode
think.
with Justin and seeing, like, getting to talk to Justin for those couple hours and seeing how he is, I
Mhm.
do believe that he was probably just like, girl, you feel this strongly about it, take it. You know, I see him being like, I really don't care. Take it. Whoever you want to send home, I don't give a shit. But Victor is like, David's using my lines.
Oh, the school of plagiarism.
The school of plagiarism. And I think David using Victor's lines here is really funny. It's because it's a really smart misdirect to make us think that he's about to say Victor's name. I thought it was genius.
It was such good television.
It was good TV. It was really good. I will say we got so much from Victor and Danny. That's when I knew they weren't going home. So much about them being like, it's us. And I know it's going to be us. I'm like, it's not going to be them. The second we got those lines from them, I knew it was going to be not Timmy and Nick, but I knew it wasn't going to be David and Victor.
I thought it was going to be them because I'm so used to Drag Race production. Like, before a girl goes out, you got to give her the storyline about her parents, how she started drag, all that. Like, they're trying to get all her TV time out before she's sent home. But I guess, yeah, it was the opposite. It was a lot of them talking, and then just ended up being Nick and Timmy.
Yeah, are the bed bugs affecting brain activity? That line killed me. That actually, he ate that one again. If we take out the STD stand-in for bed bugs and kind of like the context of it, it's kind of hilarious.
It kind of is.
It really is that one kind of funny. Thing. But like only when you divorce it of the context of all that came before, the context in which we all wait. What did Kamala say?
We exist in the context. We exist
in the context, and that's why we can't laugh at it. That's why we have to call out bed bugs whenever we see them. I'm just as gagged. We
get their parting words.
I'm gagged. Yeah, Nick is heated, baby. Heated. He said, like, you can see it on his face. He's like, this is personal. I'm
glad that I can love myself and I'm beautiful, unlike other people.
Others can't. I said, oh my god. My god.
They had to call security. They was finna fight. Mm-hmm. He was literally finna turn from DILF Mansion to Bad Boys Club.
Yeah. He said, I'm not a toxic little cunt like someone else. I said, we are missing. I have right here. God, we're missing so much of the story here. So much. My goodness. Poor Timmy. He's just collateral here. That sucks.
And he was like, he's crying on his way out. That made me so sad because Timmy did not deserve any of this.
Yeah. Oh, Timmy will miss you. I'll be like, Timmy, if you cry, I'll cry. And Nick shouts out everyone on set, which I always appreciate when the contestants talk about how good the set is. Like that was always sweet,
Listen, Miss Cunty Boom Mike on the Saw franchise, like, she deserves her credit.
Mm-hmm. Sam and Robert are on a boat. Samuel is paddling this boat to show Robert why Robert even thinking about choosing Steph for paddling a boat and rowing was the wrong decision. Yep.
Himbos do it better. Let's just say that.
Do it better, yeah. This is like a really cute conversation between them.
Robert wasn't expecting to feel so much in such a short time.
Yes. When Robert says, dude, I do love you, it comes off so genuine. And I think this is one of those I love yous in a genuine, very personal way, not necessarily in I love you in a romantic way. It's very much I love you as a person. I love the things that you stand for. I love who you are, rather than I'm professing my undying love for you and me being in love with you. Mm-hmm. I think when Robert says it, it is a genuinely personal type of love. You know what I mean? So I don't think it was like I'm in love with you thing. I think it was like, yeah, I love you.
I'd say that to you. Just like,
yeah, exactly.
Yes, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
I also wrote here, as you would like to say, like, it's the pressure cooker of reality television.
It is. I love talking about the pressure cooker of reality television. It's my favorite thing to say. I love a crock pot. It's the crock pot of reality TV. It's yeah, and Sam is withstanding the pressure because he said, "Listen, it takes me a while, so don't get caught up if I don't say it, or if I don't say it often, or if I don't say it to you. You know what I mean? It's gonna take me a minute." He said, "You made me cry, and I hate crying." Valid.
Eating it up. Just before we move on, I did the same thing to my partner. So I kind of saw myself in Sam, or no, I saw myself in Robert in this scene because like when my boyfriend and I like met physically because we talked online first, he flew down to Austin and we both went there. He flew down to Houston. We both went to Austin together, and we had these expensive drinks at this bar. We've been drinking all night.
And you
I
know,
was
and
at
you know, it
home.
only takes you a drink or two to get into it.
It only take me. I finished half the drink, and then I remember telling them we got to go home because I'm finna throw up. Got back to our Airbnb. I was throwing up in the toilet, and I told him I love you, and I will never forget that.
I'm screaming. This is so sweet. That is so cute.
It's
Oh my god, I love that. Let's okay. We're almost at the end.
okay.
We got a champagne party for the top four. I was like, this episode feels kind of long, right? We've got
It
a
did
lot
feel like
packed in here.
a good like 50 something minute episode versus like a 44.
Yeah,
Like
it
I
feels
felt the
a little
extra
long.
time.
Stormy is in a really pretty pink number. We get some entertainment from Saint Anique. She literally ate fire, you know? Like,
Mhm.
and then Vic and Danny are commiserating about not going home when boom, we get a twist. Stormy is a little tipsy, just like you.
She been drinking.
She been drinking. She says, I'm not going to make any strong decisions, so I'm going to bring you some help. Nick and Timmy get to choose a couple to eliminate and bring home with them back to the hotel. Timmy has to send home yet another person. My goodness.
Poor Timmy.
Poor Timmy.
Why?
And I screamed at this. I said, no, just when I was becoming an Adonis and Patrick super fan, they're going to eliminate them. This is sick. This is
See,
sick.
when I first saw this, I thought, well, what would be good for me as a viewer and what would be good for the show. For me as a viewer, if they came and took out Danny and Victor, that would have been
Could
so gaggy.
you imagine if Timmy said, Danny, I'm sending you home, and then brings them back and says, Danny, I fucked up. I'm bringing you back. And then is like, Danny, I lied. I'm sending you home again. Could you imagine? My goodness. No.
It would have just been like, Danny, baby, I miss you so much. Come back to the hotel with us.
That would be gaggy. I really appreciate our friendship, and that's why I'm not leaving you behind. You're coming with us. That would have been gaggy. I think that would have been the only way to frame it because I mean,
so good.
Danny and Timmy were too close, and then Nick and Victor are also really close. So it's like one of those things where like for me, they never would have been on the radar. Like I knew they weren't going to send them home. Choosing Adonis and Patrick is definitely the easy way out because they are the newest couple. So it's like you're not crushing anyone's dreams super, super bad. Like they are the newest people in the house. You have to choose somebody. They're the obvious choice. But I'm like, damn, just when I was becoming a really big fan of theirs.
I know. Gone too soon.
Yeah. Dr. Dove was putting these damn twinks through it. Timmy has to eliminate everybody. But Adonis is like, fuck it, we ball. And we fucking tonight. No more cameras.
Literally, Adonis was like, go back to the hotel with just him? Okay, let's go right now.
Maybe losing is the new winning. Yeah, and then we get a Stormy acting challenge with all her sequin dresses hanging up in this bathtub.
And then she's like, how'd you know I was drinking the champagne? Are you watching me?
And the drum.
And then maniacal laughing.
How do you feel about this top three?
The top three of Jay and Tony, Sam and Robert, and Danny and Victor.
Those are our top three. Congratulations to our top three.
I like this top three. I was honestly expecting to see Jay at the end some kind of way. Sam some kind of way. I was like, those two, I will see them at the end.
Oh, I knew that. 100%. I when we started the season, we said, who are we voting? Who do we think is going to win? We immediately said Jay. We've been Team J from the start. However, I do think Robert and Sam have kind of been coming up behind them. I could see it going to either of the two. But then
Reality TV
also
loves a slow burn.
the gag of Danny and Victor winning would be insane. It would be wild. Like I would be down to see any of these outcomes. You know what I mean? Like no matter what, I think we've got an exciting finale ahead of us.
Absolutely, which should be the next episode because
Should be the
it's
next episode. I think.
episode 8.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll be. I wonder if we're gonna get our compatibility challenge with the checklist and everything because they do bring up in the
I was
preview
expecting
about
that
the
this
points.
episode, you know.
Oh,
But they did talk about
okay.
points in the preview, so I think we are gonna get it. I think we're gonna get the compatibility challenge. That's gonna bring us to the top 2, and then we're gonna have to, you know,
The jury vote.
The jury vote. I think that's what's gonna happen.
That's gonna be a real interesting vote.
It's gonna be
With the drama that's gone on in this mansion, what have those suits of armor seen that we haven't?
What haven't they seen? Oh. We are going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll be talking to Daddy Nicholas. We are back from our break, and we are joined by none other than Daddy Nicholas. How are you?
I am very well. Very, very well. How are you guys?
We're fantastic. We're so happy to have you here. We got a lot to dig into.
I'm
so much.
happy to be here.
Yeah.
It's been fun watching you guys and watching the show, and I'm really excited to be here and enjoy some time with you boys.
Good, I'm glad.
Well, we love our daddies. We love
Yeah.
spending time with our daddies.
First off, I want to talk about kind of your journey before the house and coming into the house. Like, did you know about the show beforehand? What like drew you to this?
You know, it's funny because I remember when they were casting for season 1, I believe, and one of my girlfriends, she sent me a link. She's like, "Oh my God, you should do this," because at my gym, there's this thing called My Zone, and my Zone name was DILF.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like this thing. And it's on like this whole board of this TV, and you can see your heart rate and stuff like that. So she's seen it and she sent it to me. She's like, "You should apply for this." And I was like, "Oh my God, no way." So then at some point, I got a DILF sticker on the back of my truck, and it's been there for a long time. And I have like DILF shirts. I had, you know, some other dads that I would get them DILF shirts and whatnot. And what's so funny is last year, the middle of January, I left the gym and I was at the stoplight and I said, "I wonder what this year has in store for me. Like, I wonder what's going to happen this year." And I came home to study for my real estate exam. And next thing I know, I have a DM from Daddy TV asking if I was interested in becoming a daddy on their show. So I didn't audition or anything. They reached out to me. We ended up having a conversation. We chatted for a while, and then I sent them my follow-up video, and they messaged me the next day saying that the network loved me and that think that I would be a really good fit for the show. And so then I decided to actually watch the show after I agreed to do the show. And then I watched it and I'm like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
Oh God. Yeah, like the show seems so innocuous at first. You're like, oh yeah, it's a dating show. And then you're like, oh, Dr. Dilf is throwing out things left and right. Stormy Daniels got y'all doing everything under the sun.
Yeah. It was a little crazy the first, season. And I was like, okay, we're gonna get naked on TV, no problem. Like my Instagram is, pretty shirtless, but we're gonna be on international TV. We're gonna get naked. It could possibly be my underwear, like whatever. Let's do it. And 3 weeks later, I drove and walked into the DILF mansion. So
Look at that.
Yeah.
So I did see on your profile that you love, and you also said in the show that you love concerts and things like that. So I wanted to ask, what are your top 3 genres of music that you say? Like you met someone at a bar and they were like, "Oh yeah, I saw you like a lot of music." What are your top 3?
I have to say country, pop, and like 80s rock.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. I'm an 80s girl too. I love 80s pop.
Yeah, 80s rock and pop. Like I get down, like I can be in the worst mood or even the best mood, but if I'm in a bad mood, I'll throw on some 80s and I like my whole mood just changes. Listen to Whitney Houston, I want to dance with somebody, Madonna,
Yes.
like it's a vibe, and
Nice.
it's Yeah, I'm an 80s baby for sure.
It was just 80s night at my bar yesterday, so it's front of mind for me.
Oh, nice.
It's 80s
And you
night
know what I
every night at
love
my
is
house.
one of my youngest, he loves Madonna Vogue. Like he's like obsessed with the video. And so he'll listen to it and my kids love 80s too, so but
That's
yeah,
so
my youngest
cute.
one. Yeah.
um, I want to talk about your like the first couple episodes, kind of you getting to the house, acclimating into to everyone who's in the house, lots of big personalities, and then you kind of are floating around trying to build something with Jay, and then you kind of like Timmy rises out of nowhere, after this whole David situation. What was that like? Like, what was for you going through your mind before that happened, and then after that happened, you're like, wait, this is someone I could see myself clicking with.
So to be fully transparent, I brought my values with me to the show, which are, I'm not going to step on a friend's toes. I'm not going to try to steal someone's man, you know, and one particular David and I, before any of that happened, we really connected in a way. I mean, I'm not going to discuss the details of the conversation that we had, but it was a really deep conversation and we connected as friends and we had a very heartfelt conversation. There was tears, there was a bond, there was things, that were discussed, and I'll leave it at that because I don't want to go into too much detail about. Yeah. Anyways, so fast forward, I'm sitting on my bed and I'm watching all of this happen. I see, Timmy's hanging out and Sam's hanging out in the daddy's room with their daddies. And I'm just kind of like, okay, you know what? I think I came here. So far the experience is cool. Like I just really haven't really like had that strong connection with anybody. I think I'm just gonna go home tomorrow. And I was fine with that. Like I miss my kids and I was kind of in the mindset of like, I'll tell producers that I'm ready to go home. Like it's fine. There's not a connection. Like, like I was cool with everybody, but it wasn't there for me. And I was a little on the shy side, which is weird because I'm not a very shy person, but I
Mm,
was shy. Like it was different for me. Um, and then the infamous kiss happened. And when I looked up, I was laying at the foot of my bed and I looked up and I seen Timmy's face and I was like, fuck, like that. He's upset. What they don't show on air, which I don't know if I can discuss this, but there was a little bit of bed hopping. Um, and it just, there was more that happened in that evening to where Sam and Timmy were both sitting at the end of my bed on the floor and we were talking. And I think Timmy said, or Sam, one of them said something was like, aren't you interested in one of us? Aren't you interested in us or something like that? And then at that point, I was like, okay, I'm going to stay. I'm back in the game. I'm going to talk to Timmy because him and I started like really talking. And so I felt that once I decided that, and Timmy and I were talking, and we hung out a little bit. I thought the best thing that I could do was be very open, honest, and transparent with David, and let him know what was going on. He did the same thing to Victor. He went to Victor, told him that he was interested in him, and then moved it on Timmy.
yeah.
I did the same thing. And then I'm this horrible, lying piece of shit, toxic, fucking all these names in the books. And I'm a backstabber and I'm a liar, but I came to you face to face and I told you why, what, and what was going to happen. And then, I don't know, Timmy and I just really, really formed a bond. We really connected and we laughed and we had fun and we didn't take it too serious. Like, we're like, cool, like you're making me laugh, I'm making you laugh, you're making me feel comfortable, I'm making you feel comfortable. And there's things where Timmy, I'm not gonna there's things that happened. There's so much more that happened than what's on the TV. Um that just it caused a lot of, I don't know what the word is. I guess Timmy ended up having like a little bit of an anxiety attack, and and it wasn't caused by me. And I was there to comfort him, and so when he's saying that I was there for him, it was stuff like that.
Gotcha.
There was things like, had I known that it would have escalated the way that it did, I would have fucking went home, because
Mm,
what you guys see on the TV is edited in what you see. Being in that house for 3 more days was fucking brutal. It was rough. And all because we're playing a game. We're in a dating reality show. This is the concept of the show, to form connections and whatnot and all this other stuff. And it still doesn't make sense to me how I became the person that was hated from David, when I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't know.
this actually leads into my next question, actually, which is like David has alluded to you being toxic in the house, but like the only thing that we ever see, at least from a camera's point of view, is you
Mhm.
coming to him and being like, "Hey, I'm gonna pursue Timmy today," which
And you came as a
reads as
woman. It was
very
very
earnest. Like
respectful,
it
but
reads as
I
very
think the way they
earnest.
painted it was very like it made it seem like you came out of the blue and it was just like, "Hey, I'm stealing your man, bitch," and then that was it.
Yeah, and then you've got like Tony saying, for the first day I was in the house, they had they had tension. So I'm like, where is all this tension coming from? I'm like, why haven't we seen this? I'm like, is there anything you can share about that, or is that all like under wraps?
No, so I'm trying to remember exactly when Tony came in. So I think Tony came in the day that I told him that. So
Mm,
Okay.
that's why Tony didn't know anything. I'm almost certain that that was the day.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
so
think I think
so
it
so
was that
Tony came
episode.
in that day. So David and I talked, and this is why I can understand why David was upset. So David, I guess, wanted to talk to me in the morning also, but he wanted to talk to me and confided me as a friend and asked me what he should do between
Okay.
Steph and Timmy. And so I guess I didn't get to give him that opportunity to have that conversation with me, because I started the conversation and I just kind of led with the conversation. And I know it sounds bitchy, but in the back of my mind, I could have went behind his back. Like, I could have went behind his back. I could have, been sat there and been a fake ass person and said, oh yeah, you should do this and you should do that, and really be fake. But I wasn't. I was honest with him. I was respectful to him of, the game, having that conversation. But so what happened was, Tony came in that day and he seen the unraveling of David, and what I was doing, and I wasn't talking shit. I wasn't. I ended up talking shit. I ended up being a little bit of a gossip. I'm not a gossip person. That's the thing, is I'm not. I'm truly not. But I'm put into this atmosphere, and I'm put into this house where I'm kind of being forced. And I think I said this a few times. I don't know if they put in the show, where like I had to bring my 20-year-old self back. I was a little
Yeah.
bitch when I was
They
20.
did put
You know what
that.
I'm saying? I was a little bitch when I was 20. I was a player. I cheated. I didn't give a fuck who I hurt. I was crazy, and it was my 20s. But I'm not that person no more. I'm a father. I'm respectful. Man's man. Yada yada yada. But I was that 20-year-old Nicholas was brought out, and I'm not gonna sit there and allow someone to treat me like shit and talk shit on me. Where I'm just gonna sit there and be like, oh, it's okay. You can talk shit about me. I don't even know how many times that day where I had to have a conversation and make peace with David. Not just once, not twice, not three. I think it was 3 times. I think it was 3 times where we had conversations. I'm like, bro, like, I love you. It's a show. Like, I'm not trying to hurt you. Like, I didn't understand, because now he was free to pursue Steph
Yeah.
and enjoy that, and it didn't make sense to me. he he focused so much on hating me and being upset with me because I was coming for Timmy, but he did the same thing to Victor. He
Mm,
went to Victor and said the same thing. So I had Timmy and I connected, and then he had Steph. He should just focused on enjoying that time with Steph and getting involved with Steph more, whatnot and whatnot. And then we finally had the conversation by the pool. And I remember sitting there and I'm like, cool, like everything is finally good. Everything is calmed down. And there was more to the conversation of by the pool. And then the bitch puts the fucking pink balloon on his leg or whatever. Like everything that you just said to me and Timmy, it was a fucking lie. Was a lie, because if it was, you would not go back and do some stupid shit like this.
So did the pink balloon feel that serious in the moment? Because watching it as me as a viewer, and Mario and I went back and forth on this because he feels differently. To me, I thought it was just a joke. I thought it was just like poking light fun, like, oh yeah, like the pink twig. Did it come off as like that serious? Was it that gaggy, like in the moment, like, oh my God?
Considering the amount of drama that happened in the house, and then considering the conversation that we just had, to incorporate Timmy and that situation into your project, yeah, yeah.
See, the whole
Everybody
house
was
was on
like,
fire, and it was just a spark. That's what it was.
yes, exactly. And that is what my last draw was. Like, I was like, fuck this guy. Like, this is so stupid. This is absolutely insane. And I will say this. The day that I told David that I was coming for Timmy, things were so bad. Like, when I woke up in the morning, I'm a sensitive person. I don't like talking shit about people. I don't like hurting people, especially with the conversation that David and I had. I was very cautious of like how I was talking to him and whatnot. And I woke up and I was like emotionally drained. I was like, I'm gonna leave. I'm out of this house. I did not sign up for this shit. I'm away from my kids. Like I'm not doing this. So I actually talked to the on-site psychologist, and then I had a conversation with Victor, and they actually convinced me and let me know how, like, I ended up staying because of them.
Talked
Like,
it down a bit.
yeah, you know, David is going around talking shit about me. I laugh about it. He calls me this, he says that. I laugh about it. You don't see me going and talking shit about him. You don't see me talking shit about him, you know, anywhere. I mean, we're discussing this conversation now, but like, even, fuck, I guess I can say this because it's not part of the show. Even at the LA premiere, I invited him to my hotel room with the other daddies to the hotel lobby to have cocktails and take photos. And then the whole bed bug scene started being talked about again.
Oh no.
Oh
And so
God.
I know. So then he got upset and he said what he said. And, he's allowed to feel how he wants to feel. It is what it is. And then so I told all the guys. So I invited everyone to my hotel. We all had cocktails in the lobby, and then I got an SUV to take us to the premiere. So he comes and then he gets in there and he's like, I don't want to talk about this. So I told everybody, like, just stop talking about it. So we get to the premiere and I walk up to him and we're all standing there together. And I said, you know what? I said, I really would like for us just to go back to where things went before everything spiraled out of control. I said, because you and I had a really good conversation. We had a connection. This is a dating reality show. It's a show. It's not real life. And I said, I love you. And then he fucking shut me down and was like, you showed your true character on the show. Fuck you. Something like that. And then I don't know who, I think it was Robert that was by me. I looked at him and I just walked away. So, it's like, it's a dating reality show. We were all in competition to find our love. And are Timmy and I in love? No. Do we have love for each other? Absolutely. Do we have a genuine connection? We sure did. We laughed. We felt safe. We talked. We bonded. Like, we had a beautiful time on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks because of how bad, I guess, David has taken the show and it has affected him personally for so long still, you know? And that's one of the things that Timmy and I were talking about the other day was, I wish he would just be at peace with it. I was watching the show at the gym, episode 7, when I got eliminated, and he's calling me a fucking bitch and a liar and all these things, and I'm laughing. Like, I'm not even. I don't. It's I'm laughing. It's a fucking show. He did good. He fed the drama. Like he called me. He talked shit about me. He eliminated me. You got your revenge. I'm like,
It was good TV. It was good
you
TV
know,
for
It was
sure.
spicy TV.
It
They
was
just
spicy.
yes. But unfortunately, I feel he's taken it very, very, very serious. And yeah. And that makes me sad because the conversation that him and I had and the bond that we started to like create will probably never be there again. And I was really looking forward to creating a friendship with him, but you know, it is what it is.
Let's talk about this elimination a bit.
Yeah.
This blindsided me for sure as a viewer. But you say you kind of knew from the way he was speaking and the way that he was like saying it that you knew it was you. When I feel like, at least from a viewer standpoint, everyone was like, "Oh, it's gonna be Victor's set," you know, because as like revenge for the last episode.
I thought it was gonna be
Yeah.
Victor and Danny. Like
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
100. I would have bet money it was gonna be Victor and Danny.
No, I knew. As soon as that bitch walked out the door, I was like, "Oh, I'm done." I knew he was gonna eliminate me.
Wow.
I mean,
I'm wondering, like, how did
because
the problems between you and him supersede the problems between Victor and him? You know what I mean?
because he took what I did personal. He took me having a conversation with him and letting him know that I'm taking. You can see the look in his face when I on the show when I said I'm gonna be pursuing Timmy. You could see the look. He was like triggered or something. Like he took it extremely personal, and so at that moment he created a personal vendetta against me. And again, there is so much that happened that isn't aired on the show, but I knew I was leaving. I knew he wanted to have the last laugh. You know, he beat me by 1 second in that boat race, and he
Yeah.
was so excited. Oh my god, he was so excited about it. I was like, bitch, 1 second.
That's so
One
funny
second.
because all the daddies were beat by the himbos. Not a single himbo was slower than one of the daddies. Like even to like beat you, like, but you all lost to the himbo. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's so silly. The last question I have about the episode before Imario gets into kind of like non-show related questions, I want to talk a bit about this mirror challenge. You know, you're away from your kids. I'm sure you're like you're missing everyone, and then you're they tell you to sit in front of this mirror and reflect. What does that feel like to like just have to stand there and be like, all right, like I gotta muster it up, you know?
Um, you know, it came natural to me. So I was in therapy for quite some time, and I did therapy, I did spiritual healing, and I did hypnotherapy after my divorce. And so to speak my feelings, it kind of came natural because I've been working on healing myself from all the things. And so when it felt good, and I told myself, like, if there's one person that watches the show, just one, that watches it and they see my clip with just a few of the words that I said and it resonates with somebody and it inspires them and it gives them the satisfaction or the, I don't know what the word is, it gives them a moment or it gives them some type of sign that things are going to be okay,
Mhm.
then everything I went through on that show was worth it. So, but it was fun. It was nice. It was really nice to get vulnerable and get raw and get real and just speak from my heart, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I say this in the recap. I like if we could just have a full episode of just like the uncut versions of all that, I'd be a wreck. I'd be crying the whole time, but I'd be loving every second of it. You know, like
Yeah.
that's what I want to see.
A common thing every time we interview someone, it's always like what they didn't show on camera was, and I'm over here like furiously messaging Dr. Dilf, like, give us the uncut episodes. We need
Yeah.
the full hour.
Listen, we love uncut. We need that episode. We need the full mirror cut. Imario, what non-show stuff do you got?
Non-show. Well, since you're activated in the mood, I wanted to ask about Ariel and this leg situation with her being 16, going up to this prince, marrying this man that she barely even know.
What are you talking about?
Oh,
Wait, I'm
I was on your
surprised.
Instagram. I was
Oh, are you talking about one of my TikToks?
one of your TikToks, and you were like, y'all, this story about the Little Mermaid, like you were so
Oh my god.
activated. I wanted to put it in before Jake's question, but I was like, no, he's on a roll. I'm not gonna
This is
interrupt
killing
him.
me.
No, it's this book that I was reading to my kids. I bought it. I don't remember exactly where I bought it, but it was it's like all these stories, and one was a Little Mermaid, and she like instead of like falling in love with the prince, she's offered to kill the prince, and then I think she ended up killing
Hmm.
herself or
Yes.
try to kill
Yep.
her sister. I don't remember exactly what it was. But I never realized that Ariel was 16 years old, marrying a fucking prince, asking to leave, like telling her dad that she's leaving and she's gonna go get married. I have a daughter. If my daughter even thinks about telling me at 16 that she's gonna run away and go get married, what the fuck? That is, it's like I love The Little Mermaid. I love Ariel. It's literally one of my favorite Disney cartoons, but I never like put two and two together that she was 16 years old running
Mhm.
off to go get married.
Mhm.
I'm still like, what's
See,
your thought on it?
Got me
I thought she
reeling.
was crazy. It was giving, I honestly think maybe it was a blueprint for Flavor of Love because New York also went the same thing. You know, she was there on the show with legs, like, Mama, I love him. Like, I'm gonna go be with Flavor Flav. Like, it just, she was crazy.
That is that, yeah. And I guess now that you think about it, like most of the Disney princesses, they're like teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Huh.
Mulan
Yeah.
was like 16 saving China.
Yeah, all these little 16-year-old hoes over here trying to find a prince. Like, what the fuck? Play with Barbies.
Like, they got
Don't y'all
Barbies
don't y'all got
underwater.
homework to do?
No,
Something besides
exactly.
finding love. I don't know. At 16, that's crazy.
So, also in the show, well, not completely show related, you said you had two bakeries, not just one, because you a bitch that handles big business. So, I have to
Yes.
ask, what is your favorite thing to bake?
You want to know something?
Yes, I want to know
I don't,
everything.
I don't really bake anymore.
You just,
I don't. So I own two bakeries. So, okay, you
okay.
want some? Okay, let me say this without saying it because I made sure I didn't really speak about my marriage or my ex-husband on the show. Um, but so I started the business out of the house, and then when I opened the shop, the my first shop downtown, my ex-husband quit his corporate job to come and run the bakery with me. So we ended up splitting up, and I wanted him to leave. He said no. So I kind of taken have taken a step back, and I just meet with my assistant, and then I don't really work anymore. I do, but I don't. I leave it all to
Hmm.
him. Um because he didn't want to leave. So I said, "Fuck it, I don't want to be around you. I'm gonna leave." So
Wow.
I've taken a huge step back over the last year or two. I go in when I need it, and I work when I need to. Don't get me wrong, but my
Hmm.
everyday consists more of the kids. Like I'm the president of the kids' school, the PTA. Like
Ooh.
I'm a dad. I'm a dad, but I love chocolate chip cookies
Okay. Chocolate
with
chip
walnuts.
cookies.
Yeah, I
Mm.
could have just
Hmm.
answered that, couldn't I?
No,
Yeah, but
no,
isn't it
you
so
gave us a
much
whole
more? It's so
backstory.
much
Yeah.
more fun to get the full backstory. Exactly.
I
Hmm.
talk a lot. That's my problem. I talk too much.
No, listen, I'm a fellow yapper, okay?
Oh
Jake will
yeah.
tell you.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah. We have time for one more question because that'll bring us to 30, and then we'll be able to call it there, I
More
think.
question.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
got
Okay.
like room for one more.
I want to ask, you have a lot of tattoos. So I also want to ask, what's your favorite tattoo? If you could pick one tattoo or like one that like this is the tattoo.
My angel wings on the back, on my back.
Mm.
Mm.
They are actually very symbolic to me. They it's when I came out of my healing phase when I came out of the darkness of my marriage and I came into the light and I was able to like spread my wings and be alive again. And so those are probably, I need to finish them, but that's probably what my favorite tattoo, the wings on my back.
Nice.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Well, Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Do
I
you
hope
have-
Clearing the air.
Yeah, clearing the air, talking some shit a little bit. You know, we're getting into the nitty gritty. Before we leave, do you have anything else you want to say to the people at home? And do you want to let everyone know where they can follow you and things to promote and all that stuff?
Yes, I do want to say one more thing. It might be petty, it may not be worth even saying, but I am gonna say it.
I'll listen.
So I know there was a little bit of shaming on Victor, so to say, because I don't know, his shit got stirred around. I don't know if it was on your show or if it was on out. I don't know what it was, but because he was supposedly not sex positive or I don't know.
It was the bed
And then
bugs
so
of it all.
David. So the bed bugs came out of no. There's so much. There's so much, and it wasn't a direct. It wasn't. It was. I don't know. That's a whole nother story. You guys want to bring me back on? We can talk about that. But I just want to make it very clear because somebody decided to go and do an interview talking shit about Victor, saying he slept with one of the daddies, insinuating that he had sex with one of the daddies on the show. And the fact of the matter is, no, Victor came in my bed and we cuddled in my bed. And I told Timmy, but I did not have sex with Victor. And I just need to make sure that that is known. And it's not that I find Victor appalling or anything like that, but I haven't been with anybody in over 2 years. So I just need to make sure that y'all know that Victor and I did not have sex on the show, after the show. Just clearing the air because someone's out there fucking slapping their mouth with
for the kids at home. That is the David interview with Ricky Cornish, I believe.
Is that what it is?
I think it's it was with Ricky Cornish for out. That's where that one was. Thank you for clearing that up. I completely forgot that happens.
Thank you for letting us know that was you did not have sexual relations with that man.
Yes, you did not have sexual relations with that man. Yes. And then where can the people find you? And do you have anything to promote?
Instagram, you guys can follow me. My Instagram handle is Famous Boys with Z's, FAMOUZBOYZ. And no, I have nothing to promote. I mean, unless you're in Northern California, come by my bakery. It's called Famous Creations.
Is that with a Z as well, or is that got a C?
No,
an S.
S. Yeah, if you just Google Famous Creations Fairfield, it'll pop up, and you can follow my Instagram that way.
Boom! Go hit the bakery. Go hit up Nick on Instagram. And Imario, where can people find you?
You can find me heating up my ass in front of the oven at Booty Origami. Everywhere.
I've been Jake. You can follow me at Kroghunk for all my coffee musings. You can follow me at Poison Touch Pod for my other podcast, The Poison Touch Advice Hour, where Gay and his friends give you the best and worst advice to deal with all of life's predicaments. And check out my most recent episode with season 3's Justin Gross. We get into a whole bunch of bullshit. We'll catch y'all next time for what I think might be the finale. Maybe. I think so. I think it's the finale. It's been a whole season. All right. Bye. The boy's mine.
The boy's yours.